This is Will. Over the last few months, he's been able to turn $20,000 of his life savings into over $500,000. What's more impressive is that Will's from Mexico, where the average salary is less than $500 a month. I met Will in 2023 during the bear market when he was telling all of us to buy Solana at only $10. As of today, it sits at $156. Will has now multiplied his portfolio to over $1 million while working with huge Web3 brands like Claynosaurs, DGods, and SteadyStacks, while also building the largest Spanish-speaking crypto community, Crypto Capital. I sat down with him in Miami to find out how he did it and how you can become the next crypto millionaire. I'm here with Will. Sorry for the impromptu podcast studio you guys see here. You see in the background, we're currently in Miami. Very ironic day to be doing this, but this is what I call the Mexican prince of crypto, the Mexican king of crypto. But we're doing it on a day where the crypto market is now corrected and crashing a little bit.
My name is Will. I'm from Mexico. I come from a little town called Zacatecas. You guys probably never heard of it. I live in Guadalajara and started my entrepreneurship journey probably about 2 years ago. And that's when I met Rigo in a cohort that we did together probably about a year ago.
So I want to take it back a little bit because something I really like to dive into is entrepreneurship's minds and how they approach everything, right?
Okay.
So I know obviously you grew up in Mexico. My family is Mexican, even though I grew up here in the US.
Okay.
So I understand the whole relationship when you're growing up in Mexico that you don't really have a lot of opportunity, right?
Yeah, sure.
Comparison to here being the States.
Yeah.
So could you talk about a little bit about your upbringing? What's your background? You didn't just land in crypto, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So were you working in sales? Were you in marketing, or how did you go about that journey?
So to answer the first question, I'm from Mexico, right?
Yeah.
And most of you guys probably know this, but Mexican economy is not nowhere close to the
it's dog
United
shit.
States. Yeah. If you guys think making $1,700 for flipping burgers is bad, I went to law school. I graduated after 4 years, and my salary was $500 a month. I was making 1/3 of whatever someone here in McDonald's in the United States made, and I had to go through college to make that, right? My parents, they were super conservative. They had this old mindset of go to a 9 to 5, get that big ass job that's gonna pay you big time. And in Mexico, big time is $2,000 a month, probably. That's a great position to be in. So my parents were pushing me to that, and I had to go and study law because that was apparently gonna be a good way to find a good job, right? So at first, I didn't like it. I was never into school. I was just that kid that always got distracted. I always got in trouble because I couldn't focus on my classes.
Yeah.
I got bored. I got anxiety of just being sitting down. So it was hard for me to go to that. But I did it because I didn't know what the fuck to do with it.
Yeah, it's just what you had to do at that time. Yeah.
And then I graduated and I started the 9 to 5. And I don't know how is it here in the States, but in Mexico it's brutal, bro. You sometimes have to stay till 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. or they'll fire you. And because in Mexico there's so much demand for work labor.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition.
Yeah, they can literally get rid of you, and the next day they have someone that's content with making the same $500 that you made, right?
Yeah.
So I told myself, hey, I went through 4 years of college to make $500 a month. That's crazy for me. So that's when I started taking advantage of something English is not my first language. I learned it overall with time. So I thought that I had a pretty fluent English compared to other people.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good
in Mexico. So I told myself, hey, I gotta do something in the States that I can earn dollars and then I can just spend in pesos, right? So that way I'm gonna be balling. So I started my first entrepreneurship. My first entrepreneur company was videography company for music videos and stuff. I used to be so into music. I loved producing music. I loved writing songs. I loved doing all that. I wasn't good at singing. So
can we hear something?
Yeah. So I was not great at singing. I knew my voice was not perfect, and it doesn't matter how much autotune I threw into it. It was not gonna be great. So I focused more on I'm gonna start doing videos and stuff, get involved in music, right? So I started a marketing company with for artists. So I took artists under my wing, worked with them in their marketing and stuff, and I was making about $2,000 at the peak, which in United States is still nothing.
Yeah.
But in Mexico, that was already balling money. So I thought I was gonna retire with that. I thought that was gonna be my life. $2,000 a month was a lot of money for me. But then I had this friend called Cham, right? Which is how Rigo and I
we met. Yeah.
Yeah. he was making music, but then he stopped because, of course, me making $2,000 a month was great in Mexico, but for him making $2,000 a month in the States was just awful. So he switched to crypto and he started making content in crypto, content about NFTs, etc., etc. And because I was from Mexico, I thought crypto was just a scam, was a way to lose money. It was just not sustainable, etc. So I always looked at Champ like someone who was gonna lose money on crypto. But then, to make a long story short, I saw Champ make a shit ton of money in crypto. I was like, God, if he made that much money, what happens if I start entering this market and I probably make like $200 more, $300 more, $500 more? Like, that's money I didn't have, and for me that would be huge. Like, even
it would be enough for you to live comfortably.
yeah.
Right?
And it was, and for me, and I viewed like, if I get an extra $100 or $20 or whatever, it was money I didn't have before, so I could start doing this crypto stuff, right? So at that time, I was an intern for a law firm, right? I was getting paid probably like $500 a month, and I literally saved up $3,000 total. That was everything that was in my bank account. I took $2,800. I left $200 in my bank account to pay next month's rent. I threw it all into crypto and I lost it. Like, it took me.
What year was this?
This was 2 years ago, so 2000. It was
22 or 21.
It was end of 2021.
Okay.
Beginning of 2022.
Okay.
So I had 3,000 to my name. I lost it all. They are all gone.
Yeah.
It took me like 10 months to save that amount, and I lost it in 8 hours. I literally was hating myself. I told myself that I shouldn't have done that. I should just stick with the music. I should just focus on the music industry and make my music. Because the reason why I didn't have money from the music saved up is because I was reinvesting it in the business, right? So it's not like I was getting a huge payday. So when I lost that, I was calling again for crypto being a scam, like being this place where everyone loses money. After that, I just stopped doing crypto for like a week. But then I saw other friends of mine get into crypto and start making profits. So I was like, okay, either I'm dumb or like, I don't know why I'm doing wrong, like what I'm doing wrong. Like, I gotta fix this. I took my $200 that I had left, I put it in the market, and then I started like learning. Like, I started learning how to wallet track, started learning more about technical analysis.
And then where were you doing this? Were you on Twitter? Were you like, did you find influencers within the crypto space to follow, or like how are you approaching that like learning curve?
Honestly, I started with Discord and Twitter. So everyone told me like Twitter was the place to get alpha, because like I found pretty early on my career that if you follow influencers, you're gonna get wrecked.
Yeah.
So I started like going through Twitter and then Discord, and literally, if people said there was a project that was hype, I went out and tried to get whitelist for that project if it was an NFT or a token or whatever. So I started like just grinding, man. Like, I started putting time in Discords, time in like reading charts. Just every single second that I didn't have in my 9 to 5, I dedicated it to like learning the space. And then with the capital that I had, I started taking small trades and I started making like 10% gains, 15% gains. And I was so conservative and so down on my money that I was always pulling that money out.
Yeah.
So if I made, like, let's say I put $100 in and I made 110, I took the profits every single time. I had chances where I lost like a 10x, 100x, but I just had to pull it because like I was so down. So
it's your risk management.
Yeah. I just had to stack those small wins. So I just kept going, stacking those small wins. And then when I had like my 3,000 I lost back, I started taking more aggressive trades, right? Then just keep going. I started building it back. And then I realized something, right? I got to thank my dad for this. My dad has always been like this likable person. He was always like, he's a little chubby. So he is that kind of chubby guy that
like
everyone
chubby,
likes.
Funny guy. Yeah.
So he always had influence over people. My dad was just so focused on his 9 to 5. He never believed in entrepreneurship. So he never took advantage of that. Like, he had influence on people, but he never used it. So I learned early on in my life that contacts were everything. Because like, he's a doctor, but doctors in Mexico don't get paid as doctors in the US. But even then, if we had anything when it comes to like health, he was able to get us to a hospital and not pay anything just because he had contacts, right? So that's how I started learning about networking. And then I started meeting people in the Web3 space. that had contacts that were able to get me whitelists, that were able to get me in these tokens. So I started gaining friends in Web3, and then I started like growing my name by going to projects and being like, hey, I want to start working in crypto. I want to get a crypto job. Like, you don't even have to pay me that much. I'm putting myself out there. I want to give a shout out to a project called Digintown. First, it was a rug. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. But then another person overtook that, which
Mm.
he became one of my best friends. His name
Yeah.
is Ryan. He overtook that project
Mm.
and was putting money out of his own pocket. So I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll help you. Just
Yeah.
give me something, like give me a position or whatever. He started paying me like I think $100 a week or something like that. Nothing
But
crazy.
still, I mean, to you, that like the
Yeah.
$100 like went
Yeah,
very far, right?
that was good money for me. But I started using that job to get more leverage.
Of
Like
course.
start knowing more people and try
And
to
getting
like,
your foot in the door
yeah,
and
yeah,
networking, and not to cut you off, right? But I think
yeah, for sure.
something very important to like reflect upon here, you chased your interests, right? That it was
Yeah.
music, and then chasing your interests, and I feel like putting your intention out to the world landed you in a place in crypto, and you were taking initiative. You were telling people, I'll do whatever it takes. I'm gonna hustle, you know, I'm gonna get after it. And then it landed you, right, getting your foot in the door and
Yeah.
start making these relationships
Yeah.
there.
And I was dedicating so much time to it because I had this mindset all the time of that 9 to 5 job is always going to be there. Like
Mm.
it's always going to be there. I'm always going to be able to work a 9 to 5 and get a shitty pay.
Yeah,
So
sure. Yeah.
I should just risk it, right? Then after that, after doing DJ in Town, I got into a project called Claynosaurus, which is like a big ass
Yeah,
project
yeah.
right now. So shout out to them. They were the first big project to give me an opportunity. And from then, everything just started like snowballing. Like I started meeting a lot of people, like because Kleino was a hot thing. Everyone wanted to be my friend because I was part of the
Yeah.
team. So I kind of started knowing more people from there.
And how long of a process was that from like the point where you started meeting people and started working with projects for projects to now you're building up a reputation and
Yeah,
people like want to be your friend and want to make a relationship with you?
probably about 8 months.
Okay,
Probably
yeah.
about eight
Which
months.
still
Yeah.
and like relatively isn't that long.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah,
wasn't that long for
yeah.
sure. But then everything just snowballed from there. Like I was using Klano as a leverage to get higher in other places. So I started working with higher end projects, and then I just kept growing, kept growing, kept growing. And as that was happening, as I was building my networking skills, I was still trading, right? So I was able to get a big amount of Ethereum, and then as you
And then we're in 2022 right now.
yeah.
Okay.
And that's when the crash happened. Right? Like that's when the FTX crash happened. Everything went to shit. At that time, I had Ethereum, and I don't know why. It might be luck. It might be something I saw in the market. I really don't remember. But I swapped all my Ethereum to USDC, so I was safe from the crash, right? But then the crash happened, and then I was looking at Solana, which is another coin for the people that don't know, and that coin really got dumped because there was an exchange called FTX. You probably heard about it, about a guy that defrauded Sam Bankman, and he got like he's in jail right now.
Yeah.
He's gonna be there for like 50 years or whatever.
Yeah, a long time.
That coin got dumped pretty hard because of that. So I told myself, and obviously at this point I already had some skills about reading the market, and I already had some things that I could see in projects or coins. But I told myself, so the whole market dropped whatever percent, but Solana dropped 20, 50, or whatever percent more because he had this external factor, right? The FTX drop. So I told myself, if I put all my money, everything I have, crypto, savings, business, everything, if I throw it in this coin and this coin revives from this fucking grave that it is, I'm gonna make life changing money.
And how much were you like putting together, going to your bank account, like looking to liquidating your crypto or whatever else, right? Like how much money were you like, I'm gonna throw the house on this?
So
Roughly, if you can remember.
when it was it was roughly when it was at $8, I probably threw in like I did put everything together, like my savings, my emergency fund, like something I wouldn't recommend people doing, especially at these prices. But like at that time, I took everything, and it was probably at that specific price, $8. It was probably like 20,000.
Because in the U.S., that's not that much, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like for you, obviously, right?
Yeah,
Being
but
in
that was all
Mexico,
my money.
if you have a 9 to 5, or at least have a little bit of savings, like it's not a huge amount of money, right?
It's not. It's not really. After that, price started going up, right?
Yeah.
So I told myself, like, I got in.
And that was in 22 still?
Yeah,
or?
that was still in 22.
Okay.
So no, that was 2023 when the coin started going up, right? So 2022, I got like at the end of it, like I started looking at other coins. Beginning of 2023, I started going into Solana when like after the FTX, after everything, I bought Solana, and then it stayed there for a little while, right? But I told myself I'm gonna
So it went from like $8 to around like,
Yeah, no, it stayed at eight
oh, it
dollars. Like
stayed at
eight
eight
dollars
dollars.
was literally the bottom.
Okay.
But I thought it was gonna go lower, and
Mm.
that's why I told myself if it goes to 6, I'm cashing out and I'm taking the
Yeah,
hit or
taking the
whatever.
L.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But literally, it never touched below 8.
Mm.
So from 8, it bounced, and I saw my money like go to a
Yeah.
2x because it went from like 8 to 16 in like a couple weeks.
Mm.
So it was at a 2x, right? And I was gonna sell at that point because for me, like a 2x from 20,000 was a lot of money. Then I saw this guy called Solana Big Brain buy like 6,000 Solana
Yeah.
at those prices at
Yeah.
17.
Yeah.
So I told him, I said, bro, this guy is super smart. For whoever don't know him, he's like a super millionaire in crypto and he's super smart. Like everyone respects him in the Web3 space. So when I saw his orders, I said, fuck it. Like everything I had extra, like I didn't put before, I'm buying at this price.
Yep.
So I doubled down when it was at 17.
Yep.
And even projects I worked for, I told them like, hey, I know that we have some treasury in USDC. Let's put it in Solana. And if it works, I get a 10% out of it. And if it doesn't work, I'm gonna pay you back.
Oh, be smart. That's a smart deal.
I took a risk for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure it's a
Because
risk. Yeah.
I was already up 2x, right, for
Yeah.
my entry. So I leveraged that profit in order to convince projects to throw their treasure into Solana. And if it didn't work, I was just gonna pay.
Yeah,
out of my
you
profit.
were you were
And I
the
was gonna
bank
be
for
back
them.
to zero.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it was like a risk worth taking, right? And then after that, it went back to 12.
Jeez.
So I was starting to like get nervous because our stop loss was at a 10, I think. But then from then, it started like going up, and it just kept going.
Yeah.
And to make a long story short, Solana ended up touching $200, which
Yeah.
is like
Insane.
that's a 2,500%.
It's insane because I remember. So kind of to give context about like around the time that Will and I met, I remember you were still like doing the music stuff and you
Yeah.
were like in crypto, but you were also, I guess, not necessarily finding your place, right? Waiting for your big break, if you want to call it that,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like your big play. And at the time, I still was wanting to go full entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So like watching the jump while he's telling all of us while we're in Miami last time, like buy Solana, buy this, buy that. We're all like, yeah, whatever, And
And
then
to
like,
give context, at that point, it was at $33 or
okay,
something like that.
yeah.
Yeah. Or 40, something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah.
And I was trying to push these guys to buy Solana.
So miss the light 10, 20x, whatever it would have been. Yeah.
No, it's crazy. Like after that cohort and everything, like everything started clicking, right? So I was taking a little bit of profits here and there because I started focusing on software. Because I know, like at that point, ETFs didn't exist. Like institution money was not a thing. Like government didn't like crypto. So I knew crypto was not stable, right? I had to
Yeah.
find something else to make money off. So then I started looking at software developing. And that's when I started developing like these two software companies that I will not go into detail just to not make
Another time.
the video. Yeah. But I just literally focused on two softwares that are mainly my source of income so I don't have to touch my crypto. So yeah, I started building those alongside enjoying the pump,
Yeah.
so to speak.
And he enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm not enjoying it. It got to a point where like my portfolio was up 2,000%, which is crazy. I was able to take a little bit money out, pay my parents debt, pay for a trip to Colombia because I have family in Colombia. My dad hasn't seen my grandma in like 3 years or something. So I was like, Dad, I want to pay for your flight and shit. So crypto did help me a lot.
Yeah.
So then after that, when I saw like Solana at 100, I think it was at that point. Like right now, it's at 170, something like that. But at that point was only 100. I went to my boss. I told him I was gonna quit and I was gonna go full time into software, crypto, and building my personal brand, right?
Yeah.
And that's when I started posting more about the entrepreneurship journey, meeting people like you guys, going out with like other people with the same mindset, traveling, etc., and started building my personal brand. And that's when, like right now, I haven't sold any crypto for anyone wondering. The reason
He's holding, trust me, all days like this on his phone, just checking his portfolio.
I'm checking the portfolio every single day, especially when there's red days. Like I don't get scared because the swings of my portfolio are crazy at this point. But yeah, I don't get stressed because I already have my strategy. And like I said, I built revenue from other places that don't need like me to put
like you'd be fine, right?
Yeah,
you'll be able to eat.
Yeah, so it could go to zero again, but I already have my expenses, right?
Yeah, that's smart. Giving yourself a safety net there.
Yeah, that's what I was building, right?
Yeah.
Because crypto doesn't have a safety net,
No,
so I
you're
was
fucked.
trying to,
Yeah.
yeah, I was trying to build it. I had these two software things giving me money. Then I started seeing that crypto was limited for people that spoke Spanish, right?
Absolutely.
So after having these two softwares and having like my monthly income, I started realizing another problem, right? Which is, yeah, I was able to travel, I was able to like provide for my family, I was able to do all these things, but something was not fulfilling me, right? And I always had this idea of helping people. Like whenever I was doing music, like a lot of people don't know this, but all the revenue I did in music, I always took 50%. And even though I was not balling, I gave it out to charity, like to people to kids that couldn't hear. Cause I was like, okay, so I'm in music. Sadly, there's people that cannot
Yeah,
listen
they
to
can't
music. Yeah,
experience
so
music. Yeah.
I want to give money out. Like even if I'm not balling, like it's money that I don't need, so I'm gonna give
Yeah.
it out.
And then
Right?
why do you think you feel that drive, or you feel that inside of you that you want to help so much, or that context? Like Will to me has been like very genuine person, right? Like you can
Appreciate
tell
it.
his intention. He's like very genuine. He's very like upfront and down to earth. But like why do you feel the need, right? Like obviously it's good
Yeah, yeah,
to help people in any
yeah, for sure.
capacity, but like why do you feel the need of like that time you're broke, right? Let's
Yeah,
just say
yeah,
like you're broke.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
not getting that much money. You're getting enough to eat and your necessities, but like you're
yeah,
still giving 50% of whatever,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
To children who do need it, right? Or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Why did you feel the need to do that?
One thing my parents always teach me, and that's something I'm grateful for, is that you always gotta be grateful for what you have. It doesn't matter, like you probably don't have the Mercedes that your neighbor has, but you gotta think that there's people that don't have the roof that you have.
Yeah, to have
So
nothing. Yeah.
yeah, so for me it was always a thing of being thankful for what you have. You might not be balling in a Ferrari, but bro, if you have a broken down Honda Civic, you're
Gets you
doing,
point A to
yeah,
point B. Like,
you're doing better than a lot of people
yeah.
that don't even have what to eat today, right? So for me, it was always about I gotta be grateful for what I have. So what I don't need or what I might not necessarily need, I can give out, right?
Yeah.
So like you said, coming from Mexico, like your family is from Mexico as
Yeah.
well, and they probably came to the state to have a better life. So
Yeah.
you,
I mean, that's the reason I'm here.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you as their child will be able to have a better life,
Yeah.
right?
Or more opportunity at
Yeah,
least,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. More opportunities at least. So for me, I always saw Mexico as this place where like everyone in the world sees Mexico as like a fucking dead hole, like
Yeah. Like third world
yeah,
country.
yeah,
Like,
third world
yeah.
country, no opportunities
Yeah.
there, everything's awful. So for me, I saw like thought that I wanted to leave something in this world before I left. So at that point, I didn't know what was it gonna be that. But I always told myself like, if you build a 100,000 million industry or whatever, the day you die, if you don't have kids, that thing's over.
Yeah.
Like your
It's
name,
over. Flash.
yeah, your name is lost.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter how many Ferraris you have, like your name is gonna be
Yeah.
lost.
You don't take any of that stuff with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think what I want in life, or what I wanted, and I still want, is have my name remembered by people that I touched.
Yeah.
Like not necessarily be popular like Justin Bieber or whatever.
Yeah.
At least make an impact in
Yeah.
someone's life that you are gonna be remembered that you helped that way, right? So that's why then I started noticing that a lot of people in Mexico are afraid of crypto,
Yeah.
not only because it's a risky asset, but also because there's not a lot of places where they can go to learn.
Yeah, there's lack of understanding
Yeah.
or education about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like well, I don't know you what you guys think, but I think my English is way more fluent than
No,
a
it's
lot of
really
people
good. Yeah.
that speak Spanish.
Yeah.
So for them to go into a Discord or through a cohort or through a YouTube video and have to watch it in English and
Reading
yeah,
subtitles
reading
while like trying to learn about
yeah,
crypto. It's
yeah.
like,
Like even people that speak English, for them it's hard to
yeah.
understand
So
crypto, right?
imagine doing it in another language, and
Yeah.
like you also don't understand the culture sometimes,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Because like you might have a translation of something, but doesn't mean you understand what they're trying to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like the language barrier was a big thing, right?
Yeah.
And I realized that there was people that wanted to learn crypto,
Mm-hmm.
but they were nowhere to learn, right? Because maybe they don't know English, because maybe they just cannot focus if it's in English, or maybe if they have questions, they can ask the
Yeah, they
person.
can,
Because
yeah.
like, how can you how are you gonna have a conversation if you don't speak a lick of English,
Yeah.
right? So I saw that niche, so I saw that opportunity in the market, and I told myself, I'm gonna try to fill that void. I'm gonna try to be this guy that provides information about crypto in Spanish. Make a group, find people that are actually interested in crypto, teach them how you did it, and do what you would have loved to have when you started, right?
Yeah.
When I started, I burned money, I lost money, I got drained,
Yeah.
I got scammed left and right. I didn't understand anything. I had to learn the wrong way. I had to like watch a ton of videos.
Yeah, so you're kind of cutting down the learning curve for people, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's anything like drop shipping,
Yeah.
You have a digital marketing agency, you're in sales, right? Like
yeah.
someone who's trekking that trail, right?
Yeah.
Especially in the Mexican or in the Spanish market. You're going through all these mistakes, you're jumping through these hurdles, you're going in the trenches, you're trying to figure it out. That's such a beautiful thing, right? That you're essentially trying to uplift the community or everyone else from the country or any Spanish speaking country that like I went through this, I achieved a certain level of success. You can do this too. So here, let me show you how.
That's exactly what I was thinking. So it was like, I would like to be the person that I didn't have when I started.
Yeah.
I want to be that person for the people, right? And there's a lot of opportunities in the Web3 space that sadly, like everything else in the world, just comes when you have the right network, right? And someone that's just starting, doesn't matter how much time they put into it, they're not going to get those opportunities because they don't know the people, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, now I'm in a position where I kind of got a reputation in Web3. I'm kind of known. I kind of work for the like big projects. I have partnerships with a lot of people. I started doing BC deals.
This guy's humble too. So this guy's really humble, but yeah, he's part of a lot of big projects. Works with a lot of big names, you know, and he's at a place now, right, where he's like up on the pedestal. If you could call it.
I got to a point where like I spoke to people I never thought I would speak when I first started. Like people I admire now, I just look at them.
Yeah,
like
they're your
regular
peers
people.
now.
Yeah. So it literally went crazy.
Hey guys, unfortunately the rest of the podcast was lost due to file corruption. If you guys enjoyed the conversation, show some love down in the comments. And if we get enough interest, I'll fly down to Mexico and interview Will for a proper podcast. Also want to let you guys know that for the next week, Will's group, Crypto Capital, is also open if you're interested in crypto mentorship and having him show you how he went from $20,000 to a little over $1 million. All right, thank you guys very much. I'll see you guys soon.